Okay. Hello, everybody. Good morning.
Hello.
Eastern United States time, and good late evening, early morning for our guests over in Japan and Korea. This is the session dealing with the Japan or Korea-Japan Undersea Tunnel, or Japan-Korea Undersea Tunnel, depending on from which end you're starting at. It's a very ambitious, multi-billion-dollar project that a lot of very good and smart people have been working on for decades, and we've got 4 of them on our panel today. Our first of all, I want to just thank everybody from Japan and Korea who are way into the early hours of the morning. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your dedication. A few of them have elected to let their video do the talking for them, and then they'll be here for the Q&A session at the end. So in the next hour, if you don't know everything about the Japan-Korea tunnel, you're going to learn about it here in this session. Our first speaker is Dr. Katsumi Otsuka, who is the chairman of Universal Peace Federation in Europe, Eurasia, and the Middle East. He's long time, he's held just about every leadership position you can have related to the Family Federation, holds a degree in philosophy from Kanazawa University and also a degree from Unification Theological Seminary in the US. First came into my radar when he was head of CARP back in the 80s and 90s. He organized students and youth collegiate association for the research of principles, having meetings and world conventions in Japan, Korea, Russia, China, all over the world in the 80s and the 90s. Served as president of the Family Federation for World Peace and Unification, and as president of the corporation for building the Japan-Korea Tunnel, and as leader of numerous other organizations focusing notably on the reunification of the Korean Peninsula and especially the international highway. And he also has a deep understanding of the issues with the Bering Strait Tunnel, another key pivotal link to making an international highway. As I said, he served in the top leadership and educational positions throughout the world in South America, Eurasia, Africa, and is currently chair of UPF, as I said, in Europe, Eurasia, and the Middle East. So we're going to have Dr. Otsuka with us live, but first he has given us his presentation by video, and we're going to go with that.
Thank you very much for introducing me so nicely. Hello, everybody. I'm very grateful to be invited to this webinar to share the great idea of Peace Road International Highway Project and the Korean-Japan Undersea Tunnel Project proposed by Dr. Seung-yeul Moon and his wife, Dr. Hak Jahan Moon, the founders of UPF. For making my presentation simpler and more understandable for you, please allow me to use the slides I prepared. The idea of the Peace Road, or International Highway Project, the vision to connect all people of the world together, was proposed first in 1981 in the International Conference of Unity of Sciences by late Dr. Seung-yeul Moon and his wife, Dr. Hak Jahan Moon. They proposed the project to connect all people of the world beyond ethnic, cultural, religious differences. He's saying, this tunnel can help make the world a single community at last. Think of how much money the world is wasting on war. The time has come for nations to work together for peace. Dr. Moon especially emphasized the construction of the undersea tunnel between Korea and Japan in the conference, and later he proposed another huge project of the construction of the Bering Strait undersea tunnel and bridge between Eurasian continent and Northern American continent in 2005 in the inauguration of the Universal Peace Federation. This Bering Strait project was once discussed in both US and Russia by some people. The idea may sound unrealistic or just a dream for some people. Yes, this is not an easy project to complete, but there is a hope, there is a dream. So let me share some of the progress of the project. Right after Dr. Moon announced the Korean-Japan Undersea Tunnel project, he suggested to start a research to find out the best route of the tunnel which would penetrate the Tsushima Channel between Japan and Korea. Since then, UPF Japan has been supporting the idea and the project in both mentally and physically. Of course, it is not the easy task for completing the construction, but the dream will surely come true if we do not give up. For your reference, it is said that the world's first tunnel recorded in the human history was made over 4,000 years ago, which was the underwater tunnel of the Euphrates River. This tunnel connected Babylonian temples and palaces. This tunnel played a role to connect physical politics and spiritual religions. According to the technical research on the tunnel construction by Japanese experts, there are some of the constructive points we must promote and many challenges we must overcome. What we understood first was, seen from the technical viewpoint, the undersea tunnel construction was not difficult at all due to the dramatic development of the technologies. In Japan, the Seikang Undersea Tunnel, about 54 kilometers, which connects the main island and Hokkaido, was the longest undersea tunnel when it was completed in 1988. The longest tunnel in the world now runs through the Swiss Alps. The Eurotunnel, which connects the United Kingdom and the European continent, is also a great achievement of the humankind in the world history. It was 1801, 220 years ago from now, that the Emperor of France, Napoleon, received the proposal of the construction of the double tunnel. It took 20 years for realizing the tunnel between the United Kingdom and the European continent. Now we can travel around Europe by train safely and easily. Of course, it is not perfect, but we enjoy the peace of Europe now. The biggest challenge for Korean-Japan Undersea Tunnel project is whether the people of both countries want it or not. Considering the complex relationship between Korea and Japan, to inspire the people of both countries was urgently necessary for starting the construction. To that end, construction promotion councils were created in both countries and have been engaged in various promotion activities. For inspiring the parliamentarians, the national promotion movement in the National Congress and local assembly was initiated. The Congressmen's Federation to support the project was made in the National Diet as a bipartisan federation. In case of Korea, this project became one of the biggest political discussion in the city mayor election campaign in this April in the city of Busan, the southernmost city of Peninsula. The conservative camp positively proposed this project, but on the other hand, the liberal camp was pessimistically and negatively spoke towards the project, refusing to be connected to Japan. I have no doubt that the KJ Tunnel, Korean-Japan Undersea Tunnel, will surely benefit both nations, not only physically, but also spiritually. The essence of the Peace Road is to link people of the world by facilitating the exchange of people and supplies, especially to connect the two sides of hostile relationship is a key point for realizing the upgraded peace. Mutual ignorance leads people to misunderstandings, which will create hostility feelings among people also. The mutual understanding is essentially necessary for the realization of the peace in both regionally and globally. In the BC 2 century, the Han Dynasty of China expanded its trade network called Silk Road. This Silk Road worked from around BC 2 century to 18th century AD. The Romans built a great road network throughout their empire, many of which are still in use today. The road network was one of the foundation of the Pax Romana, peace of Rome. The vision of the Peace Road movement goes beyond the economic and the political benefit, rather focuses on aiming to tear down the walls, which divided us with racism, cultural differences, and misunderstandings. Let me speak a little bit about the starting point of the Peace Road activities. In 2013, one Korean resident in Japan started to ride a bicycle with his friends from the eastern end to the western end of Japanese long archipelago. He hoped to promote Korean-Japan Undersea Tunnel project by doing so. He was greatly inspired by the late Dr. Seung-yeul's spirit on the first anniversary of his passing. Those who showed concern to his idea was not so many in the beginning, but this trial gradually attracted many people and expanded to a big activity called Peace Bike. It was very surprising that the Peace Bike attracted many local congressmen, religious leaders, and medias. Dr. Hak Jahan Moon warmly blessed these activities by renaming it as a Peace Road. Let me speak a little bit about Peace Road in Korea. Korean Peace Road has developed a lot, and the Ministry of Unification in the Korean government is highly evaluating this event as a well-organized, peaceful unification movement of Korean Peninsula, and gives a financial support every year. It is also very meaningful or significant that the many foreign students in Korea are participating in this event every year. Regarding the Peace Road Balkans, it is so meaningful that the UPF Balkans successfully organized the Peace Road event in 2017 and 2018, connecting 6 nations in the West Balkans, where they had severe warfares and tragedies after the downfall of the Yugoslavia 30 years ago. This Peace Road played a role to console the spirit and also for the reconciliation of the people of this region. In the United Kingdom, recently UPF members organized a cross-Britain walking Peace Road event along the Hadrian Walls on the border with Scotland. Russian UPF has been organizing the many Peace Road events, even in the midwinter. Russian UPF members even organized a Peace Road event in the capital city of North Korea, Pyongyang, in 2019. It is a big surprise that the North Korean government approved this event and welcomed the Russian Peace Road runners. I'd like to send my thanks to Russian UPF for making this event possible. The founders of UPF have created many organizations and have initiated many peace movements in the world. What on earth motivated them to work tirelessly day and night for the world peace? Dr. Seung-yeul Moon and his wife, Dr. Hak Jahan Moon, both were born in what is now North Korea and experienced the Japanese 36 years rules, the Second World War, and the tragic Korean War, which divided their country into North and South. They were both literally refugees during the Korean War, and they could not see their relatives in North Korea freely, even today. These experiences surely motivated them to work for the world peace and the unification of Korean Peninsula by dialogue with mutual respect. In closing, let me quote the words by John Lennon, a member of Beatles. He said, "A dream you dream alone is only a dream. A dream you dream together is reality. A dream you dream alone is only a dream. A dream you dream together is reality." It is my great honor and happiness to share the same dream of Peace Road with you. Let's work together. Thank you very much for your listening.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Otsuka. That was a very broad and deep overview of not just the tunnel that connects Japan and Korea, but also the entire project. You were probably there in 1985 when Reverend Moon unveiled his plan to create a world highway. And everybody, it was in Korea at a science conference. Everybody was absolutely fascinated by it. And thank you very much also for talking about the Peace Road, which is going on right now, an international effort to call attention to the development of a peace highway, the International Peace Highway and the Tunnel Project. And as you alluded to, it involves Russia, it involves China, the US, Europe, Japan, Korea, every country in the world, hundreds of countries, 120 or 30 countries are involved in this Peace Road, which is, and the highway, of course, will pass through every one of them. It's absolutely an enormous project. Our next speaker is from Korea, the other end of the tunnel, Dr. Park Seung-yeul, who is a Korea-Japan Tunnel Board member and is president of the Busan chapter of Universal Peace Federation in Southern Korea. He has a doctorate degree from Sun Moon University. He's authored several books, authored and co-authored several books. One deals with is roughly translated, Dr. Sun Myung Moon and Dr. Hak Jahan Initiative, Shin Tong-il Pyeonghwa Ro Korea and Japan Tunnel. That's a approximate translation of the Korean. Is additionally translated into Japanese. And he's also the co-author of a very interesting compilation of 100 scholarly opinions about the Korea-Japan Tunnel and what it will take to do that. And he's now translating a Korea-Japan Tunnel Japanese book and magazine. He writes frequently for Chosun Daily Newspaper, Daegu Economy Daily Web Newspaper, and a number of other publications. We're very grateful and happy to have you with us. Welcome, Dr. Park. Please take it from here.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Seung-yeul Park. I am working and living in Korea, in Busan, southern area, in a very beautiful ocean city. I really appreciate to join the US ILC, especially about the Korea-Japan Undersea Tunnel project. So I would like to share the PowerPoint. Can you see?
Yes, we can. We can see fine. Go ahead.
Yes. Today's title is Asian Lynchpin Addressing Technical, Societal, and the Political Challenge of the Korea-Japan Undersea Tunnels. The table of contents, the first, Undersea Tunnel and the world. The second, the history. Third, significance. Fourth, proposed three routes. Fifth, technical issues. Sixth, political and social changes. Seventh, Professor Stefan Costello. Eighth, President Jim Rogers. These are the undersea tunnel in the world. Tunnel in blue, such as Channel, Saigon, Bosphorus, are functioning and running. And the D1 is purple, are still planning or discussing. The Korea-Japan Tunnel Project history, 1917, Japan Army General Staff Office, distribution of research data on the construction of undersea tunnel in Tsushima Strait. 1981, on November 11, Dr. Sun Myung-moon and Dr. Hak Ja-han, president of the 10th International Conference of the Unity of Science, suggested as a part of the International Highway Project at the ICOS conference. October 1986, Japanese side in Nagoya, Jinjeicho, Sagahyun, started the first investigation of pilot tunnel for construction. 1990 May, proposed by President Roh Tae-ik in speech to the Japanese National Assembly, Prime Minister Kaio Toshiki expressed his support for it. And 2000 September, proposed by Korean President Kim Dae-jung and the Japan side Yoshihiro Mori, Prime Minister. And 2003, Roh Moo-hyun President. A second. And Roh Moo-hyun, Roh Tae-ik, and also President Lee Myung-bak mentioned about this KJ Tunnel project. So the significance of the Korea-Japan Tunnel. First, the inevitable choice of transforming the global economic system and moving the center to Northeast Asia. Second, creating a global environment for the unification of the Korea Peninsula. Third, the Korea-Japan Tunnel is an opportunity for the Korean Peninsula to emerge as the center of a logistic hub, operation, and the international trade of Northeast Asia. First, Japan proposed 3 routes, Route 1, Route B, Route C. The best route is Route B. Fifth, technical issue. Many people is the thinker and ask, is the current technology possible to construct underwater tunnel between Korea and Japan? And so the answer is, although possible, Japan believes that some technologies need to be developed. In other words, it is possible with the current tunnel excavation technology from the mainland of Kyushu to Iki Island, Tsushima. However, it is said that development of technology is necessary in the Korean section of Daema Island. Sixth, political and social changes. The 2020 National Policy Proposal for the Korean-Japan Tunnel, KJ Tunnel, the title is KJ Tunnel and for the New Era of Eurasia. This left side, this book will be published in September. And we Korean-Japan Tunnel Institute use this book, the presidential, congresspersons, government official candidates, and we will witness of the KJ Tunnel project. So the Kim Jong-un, former chairman of a People Power Party Emergency Response Committee, and Moon Yeon-ah, chairwoman of UPF Korea, 2021, May 14 in Seoul Hyatt Hotels. And in that time, my book offering to him this book is, he wrote this book and the 2 books too. So he mentioned about, this book. He studied in German for 10 years. He got doctorate degree in German university. The first page, this book, first page written, The Sound of God's Footsteps, Bismarck, from Kim Jong-un. I think I read this book. This Sound of God's Footstep is footstep is realized. KJ Tunnel is becoming realized and realized. It's the sound of God's footstep from Heavenly Fathers. And this year, the Chairman Kim Jong-un visited in Busan in February 1st. He mentioned about the Korea-Japan tunnel. This, huge impact, the Korea, Japan, also in China, 100 times released in press, many times, even in Japan, in TV, television, and China website, very famous, website. 7th, the challenge of faced in negotiating. I really realized the emperor. I try to, and the Korea-Japan project to connect, especially in America. The reason why Korea-Japan tunnel should be made into the U.S. East Asia policy is to establish the geopolitical Korea-Japan USA alliance systems. So this kind of story, the last year, 2020, Professor Stefan Costello, he visited in September 21st, Haeundae in Busan, Korea-Japan Tunnel Research Associated meetings. This is Stefan Costello professor. He will come visit on August 21st. It's coming in a Saturday and Sunday, 2 days stay in Busan. This man is, his friend. He, studied in the New Jersey, the university, state university. Now he's the Korea Transportation Institute chairman. So the Stefan Costello, Dr. Kang Jae-hong, he will be visiting in Busan again. And he is the George Washington University visiting professor and the Korea Times columnist, almost in 13 years. Also, he directed the Korea program at the Atlantic Council there from 1909 to 2004. I got 2 business card. He's in a university and the Korea Times business card. And he's quite very famous in Korea. So many major the videos to how to say the interview is many times. For example, Yeonam News in 2019 April 1st, and he visited in last year. We meet together and he reflection. He said he want to meet with the official from the KJ Tunnel since 10 years ago, because he's 10 years ago concerning and studying the KJ Tunnel project, and he said he received a new blood transfusion through this visit. Also, his homepage asiaeast.org. Also, he's the chairman of an Asia think tank. This page, development page, he wrote, Korea-Japan Tunnel is Northeast Asian game-changing project. Korea-Japan Tunnel is a Northeast Asian game-changing project. Also, he wrote, the Korea Times, 2021, February 24th, to, the John Biden president. You can check, the Korea Times. Who knows, if you pitch a long-planned Korea-Japan bridge tunnels, you are the right person to do this at these critical times. You are the right person to do this at these critical times. Also, the issue occupation is very important. Issue occupation is very important. As you know, this Korea is around 4 strong nations, but if we will this KJ tunnel issue occupation, we are reading these 4 countries centering of Korea Peninsula. Also, Korea will be issued world logistic super hub. Means lot of the money, information, and the bank and the human, to come to in the Korea Peninsula. Lastly, I'd like to explain the Korea-Japan Tunnel Research Institute invited one of the top 3 world greatest investor, Jim Rogers. He, the 2019 April 22, he visited in Busan, and the Korea KJ Tunnel Institute confirmed of honorary advisors in the Ananti Hotel Penthouse. I'm in a briefing of Korea-Japan Tunnel, Undersea tunnels, and I emphasize you, the Mr. Dr. Jim Rose, please help our project. Also, he, the interviews many major the medias. As you know, Segue Times, Jim Rose's huge project, Korea-Japan Undersea Tunnel for the reunification of Korea Peninsula. As this kind of foundation, Jim Rose officially UPF International Advisory Agreement, May 16, 2019, Lotte Hotel, ILC. Also, he visited in Japan, the KJ Tunnel site, and he emphasized KJ Tunnel change geography and the history. KJ Tunnel change geography and history, 19 September 16th. As you know, through mothers, Dr. Hakja Han, we will surely build an undersea tunnel between Korea and Japan, May 17, 2019, Kintex. Lastly, a tribute of the opportunity of window. This opportunity window is difficult to know if it has been opened. It is mostly locked, and it is only open for a very short period of time when certain conditions are met. If it opens, but that is gone, closed. The window of opportunity for the Korea-Japan Undersea Tunnel construction will surely open soon. The problem is to be aware of that and be able to act boldly. Many people think this huge KJ tunnel project is impossible, but we put on this one apostrophe, I am possible. Change. One's dreams and with dreams, but everyone's dreams become a reality. Jin Ki-san said, I think we all put our energy and pray or effort at the UPF network. Get together, can accomplishment this project. Thank you so much. I hope you are all health and listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Park. That was a very interesting presentation. I'm so glad you touched on the geopolitical aspects of the tunnel. I want to talk about that a little bit later in our discussion, and also get maybe expand a little bit more on this window of opportunity, because it's very important. And I know how much timing is a factor in international affairs. Moving on to our next speaker, we have a gentleman who's a career Foreign Service Officer with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Korea. He is currently an advisor to the Korean Council on Foreign Relations, advisor to the World Peace Road Foundation, and president of the Peace Road Forum, and is a chair professor at Dankook University and is trained as an attorney. But his career has been in foreign affairs. He's been the Korean ambassador to Russia, to Italy, to Egypt. He's been an ambassador to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade. He's been a key advisor on planning and coordination for the Eurasian Forum, for the Director of Foreign Affairs and National Security Research Institute, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade. So he has had top leadership positions in every aspect of South Korea's footprint around the world, its diplomatic footprint. Now he's kind of in an emeritus status and is a very valued advisor on this tunnel project. And I believe we have a video from him, so we're going to show that now. This is Ambassador Chung Tae-ik.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Ambassador Tae-ik Chung, former Korean ambassador to Russia. I am also an advisor to Peace Road Foundation. I'm very pleased to participate in panel regarding Korea-Japan tunnel. The tunnel construction was originated to design the vision of the Greater East Asia co-prosperity sphere by Imperial Japan. However, the Second World War suspended further discussion on it. It has been tabled until Reverend Moon Sun-myung has proclaimed in 1981 the Korea-Japan tunnel construction for Great International Highway connecting Korea, Japan, China for world peace and prosperity. This proclamation opened the chance to discuss Korea-Japan tunnel actively in Japan and Korea. The Korea-Japan tunnel construction is very complicated project involving the issues of international politics, diplomacy, security, history, and culture. It requires the sympathy and the positive response of people of Korea and Japan. Moreover, the leaders of both countries should have the strong political will and determination to realize it. Fortunately, President Roh had visited Japan in May 1990 and addressed the Joint Diet of Japan, where he stressed the necessity of Korea-Japan tunnel and suggested the people of Japan and Korea to travel together to Pyongyang, New York, and London. The connecting with other continents by car and railroad has been the dream of Asian people. Once realized, the Asia cooperation community will be formulated. The President Notteu proclamation has been followed by Japanese Prime Minister Mori and President Kim Dae-jung and President Roh Moo-hyun and Japanese Prime Minister Hatoyama. President Moon Jae-in, in the address of the Independence Day of last year, proposed the creation of railroad connection of East Asia connecting two Koreas, China, Japan, Russia, and Mongol. I'm very sure Korea-Japan tunnel, once implemented, will open up new era in Asia where North Korea will join us in the making the new order of peace and cooperation. More confidently, the United States will cooperate in the whole process of peacemaking. Japan and Korea have shared the common value, which are democracy and market economy. Both countries have maintained alliance relationship with the United States. If the tunnel has been constructed, overcoming all kinds of obstacles successfully, this tunnel will contribute to promoting peace and stability of Northeast Asia and entire Asia. More importantly, the peaceful unification of Korea. I hope UPF will continue to lead the way to activate efforts of all leaders of the region to make this agenda into regional agenda, so that the governments of Korea and Japan should adopt this tenor agenda with national priority.
Thank you, Dr. Chung. Thank you, Ambassador Chung, for that fine presentation. Thank you very much for honoring us with your presence and your experience in world history and in foreign affairs that this tunnel surely touches on. Our final speaker on the panel is Dr. Hirofumi Sato, who is a great scholar. He first engaged this project, probably as the member of the Professor's World Peace Academy, and later on was longtime director of Seikai Nippo, a daily newspaper in Japan that is a sister newspaper to the Washington Times. Since 2009, he started to work on the International Highway Foundation. He held several posts as director, secretary general, etc. And then finally in 2017 became president of the fourth president in Japan of this Japan-Korea Undersea Tunnel construction as part of the International Highway Project. He's trained in law and also industry, having worked at Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. He is going to speak Japanese. We were working out some technical glitches, and we'll see what progress we have done. I believe we were able to effect we may lower his volume. He's on a video, lower the volume of that, and then our interpreter will talk over that. So it's kind of a workaround. The more modern our life and communications technology becomes, the more we find ourselves sometimes having to go to old school solutions. But I think this will work, and we hope so. Let's give this a try. we turn it over now to the video of Dr. Hirofumi Sato.
Can you hear me? I'm an interpreter.
Okay, Yoko-san,
Can you hear my voice? Oh, goodness.
yes.
Echo. Okay. I'm trying
I'm going to start the video now.
to put the echo in.
PJ, we have an echo. We have a strong echo
Right.
from Yoko.
Should I keep distance myself from the computer?
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I am the chairman of the Foundation of the International Highway and Japan-Korea Tunnel. My name is Hirofumi Sato.
日韓トンネルの推進の一つの結論がアメリカが参加し、アメリカの
And one of the conclusions I'd like to make is that USA participation and help of USA is a must. It is absolutely necessary to realize this project.
出発はアジア太平洋時代到来宣布ということで、1981年に
1981, and during the ICUS conference, three things were mentioned. Advocating the construction of the Great Highway of Asia. Number two, equalization of economy and technology. Number three, elimination of disparity between the rich and
日韓ト
poor.
ンネルの4倍、5倍の距離がありますから、世
And
界
this,
最
the distance of this Korea and Japan tunnel is 4 or 5 times longer than that of a second tunnel. That's the biggest project in the world of this type.
数十億円のお金をかけて調査をしました。
And we invested billions of yen so far already to the land, sea, air.
つなぎで行くこのルート図にそこに土地を
And we made that, do you see that route map? It was determined in 1986. The groundbreaking ceremony took place in Karachi. And this is from reach from up to Bering Strait that leads to North America.
いろんな視線が
And this is all kinds of complicated procedure going on. Inclined shaft and a vertical shaft, and all the things are interwoven in this
こ
one.
のように大きな道路を
And also there are huge roads spread, and both sides, the green grass will be, and the width of 1 kilometer will be planned.
世界に広げるとこのようになります。
And you can see that this global map, and you can see the extension of this Korea-Japan tunnel.
で2016年今から5年前に文書
5 years ago, and our Dr. Hakji Hangun visited the really the spot of the forefront of this tunnel.
それからアメリカと非常に関係あることでございます
And
が
in connection with the U.S.,
さんが
Jim Rogers, one of the great three investors of the world, he visited us. At that time, I was able to give a briefing of about an hour of the project of this Korea-Japan tunnel.
前に1時間このブリーフィングをいたしました。その時のこのホテルの場面でございます。
So this is the photo that I've taken of
その後ロッテルフトでもお会いしまして、パンフレットを九州でお迎えする時のパンフレットを参りました。
later in Korea, Kyushu, but that he's carrying that little leaflet introducing about this project. And he came actually later to Japan. So I gave briefly again about this project to Rogers.
最先端のところで写真を記念写真撮りました。
I was able to see that our forefront of this project. That time he mentioned, he wrote it, and to make Japan great again and make it happen. and do it. As if like President Trump might say, if he sees this project.
サインをいただきました。その時ロヤさんがどういうことを言ったかというとですね、日本は地理を変えるという。
Okay, this project will change the history and geography.
日韓分を掘っていけばですね、日本の問題も解決する。最適なプロジェクトであると。日本が助け、韓国を助け、世界を助ける。
This will save Japan, this will save Korea, and this will save the world.
その時に日韓というのが非常に有効になるということですね。というわけで、日本が復活するチャンスだと。だから日韓というのは日本を救い、韓国を救い、世界を救い、世界の救いにつながるということで非常に歓迎していただきまして、顧問になっていただきまして、それから協力するという約束はしていただきました。それから対馬に、本格的に移動をこれから進めていく予定でございます。対馬から韓国が一番、近畿の一番のところで、この大きな土地を開放。オープン式ありまして、それから55億分ぐらいかけて、もう一回調査設計の工事をする計画をする。それから一番大事なのは国民運動を展開する。
And this is so important to develop the goals of the Japan-Korea Tunnel promotion, national campaign in both countries. And we need to get understanding from a worldwide, the national level of both countries. And then special roundtable meetings of the experts, Japan-Korean Parliament and experts together. And now in Japan, 47 prefecture entirely have all the branches to promote this. And the media coverage is very active, as you can see, in Korea and Japan. And also Monco is the very same article. They covered our project. That is the reason how Mr. James Rogers also developed this project.
2018年には国民の 62% が
In 2018, Korean media covered that 62% of Korean people support this idea about Japan-Korea tunnel. And the media coverage is becoming active. This is Fuji TV Japan. And so this is now we have 1.25 the huge land we have, and then we have the Tokyo Dome time 30 times as big as. And our vision from now is Japan and South Korea to reach an agreement by 2027. The Japan-Korean Tunnel Construction Committee was formed, and Japan-Korea Tunnel Promotion Diet Members League, and lobby the government as a national policy recommendation, and strengthen the national movement, establish a base of support from more than half of the population. And liaison with mass media, political, business, and religious circles. And international strategy, which is very important, not only just Japan and Korea. Also, we need to have USA and Europe to get involved. So this is the conclusion. We need to have help participation from the US. Because the river moves actually really predicted without the U.S. Involvement, this project would not go forward. And it will repeat the same failure what happened between Japan and U.S. right before the World War II. This is one of the very, very sensitive issues that they face that they were solution of the same mistake there. So much of the time that the UPF, we really look at interviewing complex and the United States must be involved in constructing the international highway in Japan, Korea, and then connecting Bering Strait tunnel to create a new Pacific Rim civilization has to be done.
Larry, muted.
I am muted. First, I apologize to all of you, and I apologize to Dr. Sato and also to our very excellent interpreter who did a masterful job. I listened very closely and she did excellent in rendering it, but there was a lot of technical issues that were on our side. I'd like to ask if our engineer would put all of us on the screen, all the panelists who are here. There we are. I have, we're running a little bit over, but I have the leading gentlemen in the world who are involved in this tunnel project in the same room with me, so I have to take advantage of that. I want to deal with a couple of things. One is the big vision. Another one is the political, geopolitical aspects, and another one is where the tunnel is right now. Dr. Sato gave a very good set of drawings, and I got a sense of how huge and long this is. Let's talk, and I want to address this to everybody. So if all of you gentlemen could unmute, Dr. Sato and Dr. Park, unmute. There you go. So I'm going to put a question out here, a big question, and then Yoko, you can just briefly reiterate it in Japanese, if you would, after I finish it. The vision. In 1985, Dr. Moon proposed this highway. Everybody thought, well, it's interesting, but it just looked like a giant dream. And but you've made a lot of headway. People really went to work in Japan and Korea and all over the world to try to realize this. Tell me a little bit about the vision of Reverend Moon and what Dr. Hakjahan Moon has done now to pick up the vision. Maybe we would start with maybe perhaps Dr. Otsuka, you could say a few words about that at first. Let Yoko.
Oh yeah, it's okay. The vision of the Peace Road or the undersea tunnel between Korea and Japan is gigantic. The cost of the construction is huge. And for realizing this tunnel or international highway, first we have to connect the people's mind first between Korea and Japan. And also I have a lot of chances to talk about this vision with Reverend Moon, Dr. Moon, physically, while he was in this physical world. And he has a great vision to connect all entire people of the world, I was so overwhelmed by it. So anyway, the Korean-Japan undersea tunnel is not the goal. This is just the beginning of the international highway, according to the founder of the UPF, Dr. Moon's ideas. And then Mrs. Moon, Dr. Hakjahan Moon shared the precisely same vision towards this project. That's I'm very much appreciating that. But anyway, the KJ undersea tunnel is not the goal of all entire vision, but just a starting point. That's my understanding. Thank you, Raleigh. It's okay.
Yes. I have then an extension of this for Dr. Park, maybe.
Yeah, that's better. He has more to speak.
Okay. I would like to add just a little something for Dr. Park to wrestle with in addition to the vision. The dream of driving from Tokyo to London, you drive across under the river and you run into the DMZ, and maybe you build a Bering Strait tunnel, you're driving down from Siberia and Russia, and you get in through China, and you run into the top of North Korea. What is the plan for getting North Korea to buy into this project and go along with it and say, yes, here, build a highway here? What is the plan for that?
My turn? 2019, China, the number 2, as you know, the Prime Minister Li Keqiang, he suggested, the like kind of TKR. TKR means Trans Korea Railroad Tense Korea Railroad. So, suggested to, Moon Jae-in president. This, in East Asia, China, Korea, Japan, these three countries, the president annual, meeting every years. So last year, China, as mentioned about it before, he suggested, to not only in the Moon Jae-in, I think he also, but also, the Kim Jong-un. So, the last time Kim Jong-un, invited, Yachi, the prime minister, the Abe Shinzo, the how to say, the core step, the Yachi. What's his name? The Yachi Taro? Yachi. He invited Yachi to, North Korea and to suggest the Shinkansen in the construction from, east and west. North and west, China, initiative China, and east and west initiative in Japan. So this kind of international, situation should to possible to, how to say, to break through in the TKR. The KJ tunnel is very important to connect in North Korea, right? As you mentioned about in Eurasia and the Europe. But, and additionally, the legacy of Kim Il-sung, his legacy to, the TKR. If, North Korea, now in North Korea is very difficult, economically very difficult situation, right? Yes. So, the Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il, and also I think in the Kim Jong-un legacy, the Kim Il-sung mentioned about this TKR. If North Korea initiative in the TKR construct, they, the North Korea get money from, to toll fee. Understand? Toll fee. The construction initiative in China and Japan, and also in South Korea, but North Korea no money, right? Right. So they they from the highway toll fee. It's kind of how much is it huge money. So I think the first one, OSZD, is kind of the railroad network in the Eurasia. So the conference will be held, already finished in South Korea. There's one of member of North Korea. So this kind of international or the domestic situation that KJ Tunnel, how to say it, realizing, I think is not only to talk, realizing every day, every month, that we are targeting to, next presidential election, 2020 in March 6th. So especially, how to say it, the Korean side and Japan side, we are all in a movement, especially in the True Mother mentioned about the 5 regions, the Korea, Dr. Kim, the Park Young-bae, the Japan side, Park Jong-pil, so in the Lee Yong-won, Dr. Lee Yong-won, all our the power energy to targeting goal, next, 2020 election, March 6th, and focusing on it, all it put into it. So we please help in American side or in the Dr. Otsuka in the Europe side, including Russia and including the China, and also, of course, in Japan, put in the next, in the presidential election. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. So there is conversation going on with North Korea. That's important to know. Now I have a question. Yoko, you can help with this. A question for Mr. Sato.
Right.
Mr. Sato. I was very impressed to see the pictures of partially completed tunnel. Like that, I understand some test.
今テストが行われ
Tunnel
ている
has
というこ
been
とです。
built.
この実験されて。
What is the current state of the tunnel? The test was how many feet or yards or how much tunnel has been built to test the terrain in Japan and in Korea, if there's been any in Korea.
これですね、今の状況についてお聞きしたいんですけども、それは今、その実験とかそういうことをされているようで、テストも採掘されて掘られているんですけども、いくつのそういうトンネルのその実験っていうのが、日本側からまたあれば韓国側でそういうものを実際されているんでしょうか。
はい、じゃあ答えます。
Yeah, I'll answer to the question.
So maybe if he talked in small batches and you translate.
Okay,
実験に関しましては、
ちょっと少し切ってくださいませ。逐次でいきますのでお願いします。はい、
実験に関しましては、今、
はい、
実際やっているところは唐津だけでございます。唐津だけです。
Okay. Only location we were doing experimentation is Karatsu, the only place. Yes. はい。
しかしこれから本格的な実験は唐津じゃなくて対馬になります。
However, we have clear plans from shifting from Karatsu. We're going to make a full-scale experimentation on a larger island, which is Tsushima Island. That is a launching pad from now.
その理由は日本と韓国の間の海峡が海が深いだけじゃなくて、その地質が非常に柔らかい地質です。石になっていない未固結の地層です。
The reason why this shift has made was because of the two reasons. One is the strait between Japan and Korea. That geology of the quality of the soil in undersea is very soft, and also not just deep. So that's why we had to make a shift. はい、どうぞ。
その地質の、データがないと工事のレベルが決まりません。
Without have this data to qualify or determine the softness of the soil undersea, we cannot make investigation. We cannot make a start.
地質の質によって数兆円の差が出ます。経費の。数兆円の差が。
Okay, depending on the quality of the soil quality, softness or hardness, then the investment amount will verify in the scale of billions of yen.
ですから
So
今
that
まで
data is absolutely important. Yes. はい、どうぞ。
今までやってきた活動は調査の活動でありますが、調査活動は対馬でほぼ終わります。対馬からの斜坑を掘ることによって調査活動の内容がほとんど終わります。
Okay, so yeah, let me correct that. He said trillion yen difference by the quality, by determined correctly of the softness of the soil. And also about the investigation, survey, and examination will be ended in Tsushima. So from now, we're going to really make a full-scale advancement in terms of, that full scale of project. Okay, どうぞ。
しかし、その調査斜坑を掘るために40億か50億の資金があります。
So in order to make this inclined shaft, it will take 4 to 5 billion yen. どうぞ。
この資金の獲得は大きな課題です。
So for us, it's a big hurdle. How to acquire, to secure this huge amount of money of 4 to 5 billion yen.
ジム・ルアスさんにこのことは お願いはしました。
I made a request actually to Mr. Jim Rogers about this matter.
こうですね。
どうぞ。
今まで120億かけました。全部に調査のために。
お金かかったってことですか
？120億円。
So far, actually, we already spent 1.2 billion yen. Okay.
しかし、
12 billion. 12 billion yen. Yes. はい、どうぞ。
これからは一応調査した基盤がありますから、それだけでもかなり、運動はできますので、いかにマスコミとか政府の方を動かすかということが一番大きな課題です。
So the good point is that so far already we have gathered pretty good information by investing this kind of much money. So we have foundation to be able to now give impact to media or government to do lobbying activities. We have that foundation now. はい。
その際に日本の政治家のトップの方々は自発的に動くことは弱いところありますから、アメリカ等のプッシュがあれば非常によく動くうまくいくんじゃないかと。これからアメリカの力が必要です。
So actually, this is Japanese, the nature. Japanese politicians or government people, they will not necessarily take a really active initiative to do this. But only when the U.S. gives a kind of encouragement, support, or even really a little bit push for, letting them understand Japanese politicians, they will follow. They will do it. That's the way how it goes so far. はい、
もう一つだけ、文先生が何回も強調したことは、日韓トンネルおよび国際ハイウェイプロジェクトは必ずですね、アメリカを入れないといけないということは何回も強調されました。
And one thing that I'd like to emphasize again, what Reverend Seung-yeul Moon have mentioned to us was that in order to make a successful project of international highway as well as Korea-Japan undersea tunnel, USA participation is a must. Without it, it would not be able to make it. He emphasized again and again. So I want to repeat this again here.
もう一つだけ。日韓トンネル国際ハイウェイの大きな一つの目的は、東アジアに共同体を作ることです。東アジアに共同体を作ることです。EU みたいな共同体をですね。
Also, he was emphasizing beyond the international highway and its Japan tunnel, Korea tunnel, that the whole idea is to build the Northeast Asian community. That is a very, final project as well.
その共同体を作りながら、韓半島の南北統一をその枠の中で、実行する、計画するという目的があります。
And thereby, the realization of the sphere of Northeast Asian community, we can make the reunification of the Korean peninsula of North and South Korea within this structure.
ですから日韓トンネル国際ハイウェイは日本と韓国とアメリカが一体になってやることがこれから非常に、重要になってくると思います。これが鍵だと思います。
So I firmly believe from now this as a step forward that the unity and cooperation between those three nations, Korea, USA, and Japan, and harmoniously working together, and that'll become a key element for the success of this project.
That's okay.
So
Thank you.
This is all I wanted to express.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sato, and thank you for Mrs. DeGroot for hanging in there. I apologize again for the technology on our end. We went over. I have so many questions. I have so many things, and one thing I can see is that has been made more clear to me than ever before is the importance of the United States in getting involved in the Korea-Japan tunnel. It's not just something far away. It's part of the whole trilateral alliance. So I can see the Universal Peace Federation North America convening one of our webinars in the next couple of months, dealing with support for that tunnel from the US as a way to shore up the trilateral alliance. And first call we'll make is to this Dr. Stephen Costello at George Washington University. Get him and some of his colleagues on board and see what we can do to put together a webinar here on this end. Gentlemen, you have been absolutely fantastic. Thank you for staying up very late and working on this. Again, my apologies for the translation. This has been a fascinating discussion. I listened very closely through to every one of the speakers, and even extra hard for Dr. Sato to make sure I could understand everything that was being said. So thank you very much. And I guess this will close us out. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you.
We went to a different, thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
We went to a different kind of view here. But thank you so much. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. Thank you all. Part of it. Thank you.